We need to do another intro. So, real quick, here's what I want everyone to do. Say your name and then say what the podcast is about in like 30 seconds.
I'm going to tell you right now, John, that I, Matthew Sin, will not do that.
Well, then what are you going to do?
I emphatically refuse to state that the purpose of this podcast is to determine which character in a particular series, piece of media, book, whatever that we're talking about is the best. Because we've already done this twice before. To do it a third time is a disservice to myself, to Brandon, and I think to you. It's just disrespectful at this point.
Well, you know, here at Your Favorite Character Sucks, that's what we do. We repeat the process over and over until we have multiple winners. And then at the end of the season, we have a best of the best episode where those winners go head to head to determine which character is the best from the entire season.
Well, here's what I, Brandon Lee Nash, will tell you about this program, YFCS Pod, as we like to call it on the socials. I'm just here to argue with my friends about dumbass shit that most people don't really care about, but we do, and that's why we're here.
I love it. All right, thank you guys. On today's episode, The Office. So, just a refresher, we are trying to figure out who the best character is. It doesn't need to be contentious. I think especially this episode, I feel like we're going to find good things to say about all the characters. Like, I don't know. I love all these characters.
I don't, but I'm excited.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll save it for the podcast. I have very strong feelings about...
Ooh.
That's an exaggeration.
Ooh.
I just have feelings about The Office and its characters.
All right, let's get into it then.
You feel a certain way about it.
Okay.
No, let's get into this.
So we're gonna figure out who the best character is in The Office, but the problem is, and I guess the way I want to introduce this is that we all know who the best character is in The Office. So really, we're just trying to figure out who the second best character is, because Michael Scott, there's no debate, there's no doubt. Michael Scott is just the best character in The Office. Like I don't even understand how you could argue against it. So we're gonna just argue for who's the next best character after Michael Scott. Do y'all all agree with that, or am I crazy?
Fair. No, I think it's fair. I think that my character could stand up to Michael Scott, but I'm not convinced he could beat
Is that Erin?
him. Yeah.
Okay, we'll have to see who your
I'm
character
Erin.
is, because if it's who I'm thinking is not, can't even light a candle next to him or
you're
whatever.
going to have a hard time.
Okay,
I
so
know.
I like how I started this, and I was like, it's probably
I know
going to
you're
be a
going
love
to
fest.
struggle, Erica.
It's going to be the most contentious episode of the freaking podcast now.
Yeah, we're just all going to get super aggressive. Everyone's
We're
going to
all
fight.
really feisty.
No, I love you guys, and I'm really excited to hear what y'all have to say, even when you're wrong.
Erica and I agree on
it.
almost nothing.
Yeah, I know. And you know what? That's honestly what
And
makes
that's
our
okay,
friendship
'cause
so
I still
beautiful
really like
to
her.
me is that we don't have anything in common, and I still really, really, really like you and like would rank you really high on the list.
On a list
I
of what?
completely agree.
Just people I would want to spend my time with.
Oh, okay.
All right. Anyways, though, let's get into it. Let's dive in.
We'll talk about Michael Scott later, but we are going to argue for the best character that is not Michael Scott, because The Office is an ensemble. It's got a pretty big cast, honestly, and throughout the series, they all get to shine.
All right, let's
who
get
wants
into
to start?
it.
Yeah, who wants to? Does anyone? I can start.
Erin,
I
you
don't
go
care.
first.
Why does Erin go first?
Because let's just start. Let's not sit here and like.
She just said she
who
liked
wants
me,
to go? Who wants to go?
obviously.
I mean, and
Just-
she's already
just give-
teased her character. She should
Exactly.
go.
Let's just get into it.
I'm
All
ready.
right, Erin, you're arguing for Erin, the secretary.
No, I'm arguing for Gabe. No, I'm just kidding. He's the worst. I'm just kidding.
okay.
Not
I love.
I was like, she thinks
No,
Gabe is
you
comparable
can't
to
love
Michael
Gabe.
Scott. Like, let's just hang up now.
He's also so
I would
good on
be
Silicon
okay.
Valley. That actor, I love him so much.
Anyways, who are you
Okay,
choosing?
so my real person. Okay, so I had two people. One my heart was telling me to go to, and one my head was telling me to go to.
Wow.
And I decided to go with my head one.
Oh,
mostly
okay.
because I know. Well, I thought I could make the strongest argument, and it was a group effort. Shane was in on this, and my friend Ryan and stuff.
That's beautiful.
And that is Dwight K. Schrute.
I thought
And I
that's who you were
have-
picking.
I know, it's good. I have three main reasons, and then, of course, lots of other ones. So the first main reason is The Office is all about relationships, right? You don't watch it because it's exciting or there's intrigue, like a murder show or ER show or whatever. You watch it because of the people. And Dwight has some of the strongest connections to everyone else.
True.
He's Michael's, like, number two. He's, his best man, his best friend. like Jim and him, I think if Jim did those pranks on anyone else, it wouldn't be funny. But he makes them so much funnier. Like when Jim put his desk in the bathroom and he just like crawled and sat down and answered the phone and answered Jim's question. Like nobody else would just play it off, and it makes it hilarious. He calls Pam his best friend by the end. He obviously marries Angela. Oscar ends up being the godfather of his kid. And even like the other smaller characters, he has important interactions with. Like he gives Stanley a heart attack.
Yes.
He fixes Phyllis's back. He fires and then buries the hatchet with Kevin. Like he just has a connection to almost everyone in the whole office.
Mm-hmm. Is that point number one?
That's point number one.
Okay,
I know.
All right. Well, let's.
I'm cooking
So
it up.
point number
I'm cooking
two.
it up. So number two, I think he has the best story arc. Like the first season sets him up about two things. Like he wants to be the manager and he has a thing for Angela. And how does the series end? He's earned the title of manager, even gets his nemesis Jim to recommend him, and he marries Angela. It's like he's this kind of annoying, ridiculous guy at the beginning, and then you're totally rooting for him at the end.
It's terrible.
So I love his story arc. And then number three is he has the best resume. Assistant regional manager, won salesman of the year, has a black belt, beet farmer, bed and breakfast proprietor, has ability to lower and raise cholesterol at will, and is a volunteer sheriff deputy. Nobody else's resume looks like that.
Who's the
Erin, I think that was such a good opening argument. Like that was probably one of the best that this podcast has ever had. I 100% disagree with
because I know how you feel about him.
I still disagree with everything that you said, but I think you sold it.
It's so clear you took a debate class in high school.
You did something to where like you are above and beyond on like you could probably sell me something.
What was the guy on Gilmore
Well,
Girls?
I
What
think
was the guy on Gilmore Girls?
Could she sell you beats?
Beats?
I actually like beets.
Do you?
So,
There you go.
The only thing
We're
I
not talking
don't
about
like
by
about them
Dre.
is that dirt taste that they have.
I think it's because was a middle school math teacher, so I had to sell math to middle schoolers.
That's it.
And so if I can sell math to a bunch of like tweens,
Yeah, I guess
I
so.
mean,
Because
throw
you
anything
could
at
sell
me.
math. You might be able to sell math to me as an adult.
hey, give me like an hour, girl.
Yeah, I
Lauren,
really might.
when do you want to go? Do you want to go now or later or what?
I can go ahead and go now.
All right, go for it.
Okay. So, my whole thing about The Office, just in general, is that this is a show about the worst people that you know, like, when you're working. Like, I think the whole point of the show is that everybody is terrible.
Yeah.
So, who is the second best character? The second most horrible person, which, to me, is Angela. So, I'm sorry if anyone actually really loves her, but I just think that she is...
Oh,
she
she's
has
horrible.
a redemption story. She gets
She's
a
terrible.
little better, but she just always is who she is. Even to the very last episode, she's judging like Meredith and other characters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you took a different approach with yours. You went with the worst, not the one you love the most.
Well, but the worst
yeah.
because the show's
But the
about
worst
the worst.
is the best, yeah.
I
Because
love that.
Here's what I love
Routes.
about this. Well, did you have more to say, or do you want to put it off till later?
I'll wait until we really start to argue. Although Erin's points were pretty spot on. I mean,
Yes.
they were
Appreciate
very
that.
convincing. It really made me think for a second, did I make a mistake?
Well,
But
you know
no,
what's funny? You know
Angela's
what's
still the
funny?
best.
Is that we all have a different idea of what the show is supposed to be, and
Absolutely.
if we can convince each other of what we think the show is supposed to be, then I think that's what'll sell our character. Because
That's true.
in my opinion, and actually this isn't even an opinion, I know this because I follow Ricky Gervais in multiple media, and Ricky Gervais has said that it is a show about people who are failing and who are trying their best and who are genuine, but who just can't quite get on to that success. And the character, in my opinion, who epitomizes that the most is Ryan, the temp.
But can we really say that
He
they
is a
are all
failure.
trying their best?
Some of them though. Some of them, yes.
Sometimes, some days, but
I think that's Michael Scott.
I agree.
Michael
I
Scott.
disagree with Ricky Gervais too.
Wait, he made the show, but hold on,
He
let me
did not
finish
make
my
the
point, and you can
American
get
one,
into
and
yours.
America is always going to be different.
Sure, America does change the show a little bit. However,
America doesn't just change the show. America changes the concept of what is unsuccessful and successful because success in America
We
is
have different
completely
values.
Yeah, it's completely different
Sure.
than it is in the UK.
so what I'll say is that, in my opinion, the best episodes are the ones where we see people, struggling and not succeeding. And I think that so many points in the show, we're seeing characters that reach for something but don't get it, but then like learn to value relationships. So I think the relationships part are important, and I think that awful people who don't quite have good self-awareness is also part of it. And I think that Ryan is awful. I think he doesn't have any self-awareness, and I think that he is one of the only characters who never quite gets any like positive movement because he constantly is defeating himself. And I think that's what the show is about, and that's why I picked Ryan.
Okay.
See,
so
the reason I don't like Ryan is because he's exactly the same at the beginning and the end.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. But
No,
we'll talk about it later.
is.
No, we'll talk about it later. He evolves.
So I just love that we all have such different feelings about this show, because I don't think the best. I've never honestly had that thought of them all being awful people. Like, I've never thought that until this moment. It was not an idea that crossed my head. I also never thought about all of them being failures, because in my head, I'm like, they all have jobs. Like, that is more than enough. Okay, but like still, that's more than like I would never think so little of people that their job means that they're a failure.
But
you know what I mean?
They all have dreams that are past Scranton.
Yeah,
and they never get
but
them.
that's America.
But I guess that is a good point, because they do go to work and they function and they work every day.
They're
and
working.
even for a failing company, they're trying to save it.
I guess what I'm saying.
Their branch never closes.
Yeah, what I'm saying is
true.
they don't ever get the dreams that they care about, which that's Ricky Gervais. He wanted to be a musician and he didn't
America.
get it. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, but
People
Michael
working
Scott
9 to
did.
5s and they want to do something else. And I feel like we do see a lot of that. Like, Jim eventually gets that job with Daryl.
then he goes back on it, doesn't he?
He finally does it.
Athlete. He
At
does.
the end. Yeah, he does. Pam
thought
wasn't
he
He
gave up on
starts
it because
it,
of Pam.
and then
No.
he leaves to be with Pam,
Yeah,
and
but-
then he gets
but
to
then
go back at the
then he
very
goes
end
back
because she
at the
sells the
end.
house and
And
stuff.
Yeah, that's
Pam-
like the
Jim's a
ending
terrible
Then
episode.
character.
Pam failed art school, but to me, I feel like that's just so much more realistic, and the show's not going for reality. But it is, I mean, maybe it is, but it's the most realistic thing. Like, it would be so cheesy if she passed art school. And at the end, also, like, Dwight getting Angela, to me, is opposite of the writing of the show, because realistically, that just would never happen.
Why?
They would still just, she has a baby with another man, like,
Yeah, but
well,
he's
No,
gay.
it ended up
He's
being
gay.
his.
but also it's
Well,
Dwight's
yeah, I thought
baby.
it was his. Yeah.
It's Dwight's
It is
baby.
Dwight's
I'm
baby.
saying, like, at the end, none of that would be like a romantic, like, fairy tale. It would just be like drama, like these two people in the office.
That's
like
life.
exactly, it's life. So I'm saying, like, but them ending up together and it being like a romantic, like,
Yeah.
yay thing,
Well,
to me is unrealistic.
The Americanized version of The Office.
Yeah.
Right. No,
They
but
gave
that's
some
what
people
I'm
some fairy
saying.
tale
They
endings.
swapped it up from what the beginning of the show was
Some
to
people.
what the end of the show was.
Yeah.
Almost everyone was different.
True.
All right, but who's your
Even
character?
them having Michael come back at the end, don't get me wrong, that was like one of the highlights of the whole show for me. But
I loved
realistically,
it.
I was like,
All right, we'll get into it deeper in a minute. For now, who's your character?
okay, here's
Who's your person?
And what's your philosophy on the show, I
too,
guess?
Well, my philosophy on the show is it's just something to watch. I literally, it's kind of how Erin feels about Gilmore Girls. Like, I've never thought more about it, but here's why. I don't live in Scranton, Pennsylvania. I am not a white person.
Wait, what?
Like, like when you're watching Gilmore Girls, I'm like, obviously I'm not a white woman, but I can watch the show and be like frustrated as a girl in high school, like, oh, this would never, you know what I mean? But like,
Yeah.
I don't work at a paper company. I have no idea what the reality of that is. Like, I have no idea what it's like to work in an office either. No idea at all. So for me, it was just a show to watch that was funny. I never thought twice about the fact that they sold paper.
so
like,
then-
I literally forgot that they sold paper until y'all
So
said
then
that.
your character is the funny one.
Is it the funniest person?
So my character, I again was gonna flip a coin and just decide, but then today I was like, I like Erin, I'm going with my heart and not my
She went with
head.
her head, didn't she?
Oh, right.
I did go with my
So
head,
I'm going with
yeah.
my heart. That's it. I was gonna go with my head, and my head had two people that I was like, I could sell them on this, but I'm PMSing, so I went with my heart.
See, I
and-
sold out.
Well, no, you didn't. You used logic, which makes sense. But in this time of the month for me, I'm not using logic. I'm going with my empathy or whatever. Anyways, my person is Kelly.
Okay, I totally called that you would pick Kelly and that John would pick Ryan. Like
Okay.
when we first said we were doing the
And y'all
office.
did-
It's
and y'all
probably
did
because
Dwight
we
and
are
Angela.
Kelly and Ryan.
And y'all did Dwight and Angela. I'm not Ryan.
It
Go-
is kind of funny that we're arguing for different parts
Yeah.
of the different like power
I
couples
almost
of the
didn't pick
show.
her.
Yes,
I changed
yes.
my mind like right before, like maybe on my drive home from work. So, anyways, I'm picking Kelly, and here's the thing. I don't care if I win or lose. Kelly is the best character because she makes me smile the most, and she's so funny, and she's really chaotic and kind of problematic.
Oh, yeah.
But that chaos and that issue that she has, like all the issues that she has, they're just so funny to me. So I don't even really know what else to say other than Kelly is my comfort character, and every time she's on the screen, I'm like, okay, like this is nice. You know what I mean? Like the drama that she has, it's not going to make me cry. It's not going to make me mad. It's not going to make me feel anything except for like a smile on my face. Even thinking about her now, like, she's so funny to me, and that's what the show was for me, is humor. So yeah, I'm going with Kelly because she's my girl. Also, I feel like
Kelly
if I was the person of the office, I would be Kelly. So, like 100%, I would be Kelly. I would just...
You would care about, like, the pop culture.
Yeah, like, I'd want to talk to you guys about, like, what the Kardashians were doing, and I'd want to wear cute outfits, and if people, like... I wouldn't care if people forgot my birthday, but, you know, I would just want to take a nap at work. Like, I would flirt with people.
Fake pregnancies?
So she definitely has like a zodiac placement that I don't, because I would never do that. But just watching it, I'm like, I get it. Like the show needed some pizzazz, something a little less boring and bland, because Pam is just like supposed to be the
Meredith?
hot one. No. Meredith is Meredith. Okay, so Meredith is like, what's it called? Like chaotic evil, in my opinion.
She doesn't do anything mean to anybody.
Not
like,
mean. I'm just
Kelly's
saying if I had
like
to place her
chaotic
on a
in a
chart.
happy way.
She's
And
chaotic.
Kelly adds spice at the beginning of the series and just from the beginning of the show. I feel like Meredith doesn't really kind of start to build as a
She gets
character
more
until later
That's
on.
true.
Yeah, because she just starts off as like the angry alcoholic.
Exactly.
And she's
Bad
like the
mother.
funny, angry alcoholic.
Yeah, like she's like bad. Like, I don't know. That wasn't necessary.
also,
like to me, what Kelly's doing is not something that I would say later on would be like how you just said, like Meredith, like bad mom, that type of thing. Like where I feel bad for her or anything. Kelly doesn't do anything that makes me feel bad for her or make me feel. Yeah, but chaos.
No, I was gonna say chaotic.
I was like,
chaotic evil is Creed.
Oh, 100%.
Because that dude,
yeah, you're right.
That dude literally at one point is like, I can get you a kid for that much money. Like that dude has some like sketchy stuff going on.
Yeah, like
He's super sketchy.
Kelly just always, I feel good with all of her scenes. Out of all these other characters that we just talked about, I don't feel similar feelings.
Who?
Like Ryan, I look at him and I'm just like, Dwight, Angela, but Kelly is at least like, okay.
The show is supposed to be characters that we listen to and we are like, oh my God, and roll our eyes at them and laugh at them.
For sure, but
Yeah,
I would
they're
say
supposed to be absurd.
I've never thought Dwight was funny.
Oh.
I don't think any of
Really?
his scenes are funny. But here's why, you guys. I'm really sympathetic,
I don't
I
believe
think.
that.
No. I would say some of the things that he causes are funny.
Yeah.
Like the scene when the cats are going in, but I don't find him
When
funny.
the cats are going in.
Well, I'm sorry, when
When he lights the fire?
when the cat falls from the roof, I mean.
When everyone loses their mind, that's one of the best scenes
No,
of the show.
That's like one of the best scenes,
It's
and it is
100%
caused by
one of the
Dwight.
Here's the thing. I probably feel like Michael Scott feels about Dwight. Like he's in the room and he's there and you just have to like kind of tolerate it.
Okay, but I feel like
that was just
Dwight
their-
makes everyone funnier.
I think people bounce off of Dwight for sure.
Yeah,
I
like
think they
he's in
bounce
all
off
the
of him
silly
in a
videos with
teasing
Michael.
way. Here's the thing. I'm not playful and I don't like teasing and I don't like pranks
No, I think Jim.
and I don't like that dynamic.
There's even a point at the end of like season 2 where Jim is getting like read the pranks that he does, and he even admits that he's an asshole. Like so.
Good.
Yeah,
so,
that
so-
was too much.
So I don't think that's what we like. I don't know. I mean,
So what's there to like about him?
because he's just awkward and the things.
He's definitely on the spectrum and we're all laughing at him.
Well,
And that to me makes me uncomfortable.
like the way he's prepared for any kind of combat or whatever, and then like he's ready whenever Roy comes and he pepper sprays him.
he saves Jim's life.
Like that's
Right, no, that is amazing. But if that person was here in real life, you wouldn't think he was funny. Everyone would be making fun of him and be like, "That guy's so
Dwight
weird."
is definitely the person in the office that like you tolerate and you have those nice moments, but generally they just make you feel cringy and that you just don't enjoy being around for like most of the show.
Yes.
I feel like he starts out that way, but at the end, I feel like
Yeah, I
don't
feel
know,
like after
everyone
Florida,
likes him more. Even when he almost got pinned all of the junk on, and Jim like wrestled him to keep him from taking the fall. Like even Jim didn't want bad things to happen to him.
And if he is that autistic character, and if we are making fun of him, I think that that's at the beginning of the show. And then the positive thing about it is that then they all start to, after they realize, like, yes, he is different than us, but he's got all these like really great qualities about him. Like he's very passionate about what he does, and he also will defend his, you know. So I think that I mean, if he is on the spectrum, then we see at the end like people that are on the spectrum, they have value, and they might be a little different, but they're valuable.
That's
true.
true.
And he ends up being an actually really good manager.
Yeah, I feel like the turning point for Dwight is like when he gets turned, you know, he doesn't get the manager job when Michael Scott leaves, and so he has that moment of like, I don't care. And so he stops trying so hard. I feel like that's when you really start to see his character develop, because before it's him trying really hard and being annoying and coming off as like too much all the time.
I don't think I hate him, because I don't hate him.
For me, I think Dwight's character really comes into his own whenever he kills Angela's cat and he gets dumped, and you know, but he
he's so
But see,
sad.
he goes
that's
through
what I'm
so much
saying.
heartbreaking.
That type of behavior, to kill a cat and think, okay, well, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, who would think that?
But
what is wrong with
he
you?
grew up on a farm. He saw the cat was suffering, and he was but that's the thing. He's always true to himself. Like, he didn't do it because he was mean. He did it in mercy, and he like defended it. And he was like, I did it because this cat was in pain. And like, I feel like he's always
Well, he didn't defend it right away. He defended it after he got caught.
He lied. Yeah, he lied.
Well, that's
but
true.
let's talk for a moment about how Angela, if we're going this route,
Let's do it.
pushes for Dwight to develop more as a character. Really, that's just another point of why Angela may fall in as some of the best, you know, in the show.
Well, you know what's funny? Angela, so like she is a horrible person because she's, you know, having affairs and like leading Andy
she's
on.
so
like,
hypocritical.
She's a very terrible person because she's such a jerk to everyone in the office. Like, and she's always like, she's very hypocritical because she calls everyone whores and sluts, but then she's like doing what would get you labeled those things. But I do love her relationship with Dwight at the beginning when they're keeping it a secret, because she like pushes him to become manager. She actually pushes Dwight to not be Dwight, which is like to double cross Michael on an episode. She like pushes him like, you should go and become manager, which is something that Dwight would not do. But then my favorite thing with that is whenever Dwight pepper sprays Roy, and Angela goes and asks every single person in the office to tell her the story. It's so funny. And then she just
what happens?
swoons. Yeah, she just swoons.
No, you forgot a part. Like, because she knows the story.
Yeah, she knows it, and yet she still goes
I love it
to
so
each
much.
person. And then she's like, we're going to read through these files later tonight.
Oh my
you know,
God.
you never think that would
funny.
be like an aphrodisiac, but it was, you know, it was it for her. She enjoys, you know, these powerful men, which it takes a strong woman to enjoy powerful men. But I think something we like, you know, one of the things that sticks is, and probably why like so many people have that like visceral reaction to Angela, is she is that portrayal, because each office character to me is different, you know, attitudes you see out in various workplaces.
Yeah, you meet those
And so
people.
Angela's that toxic woman. She's the one who wants to be perceived as kind, and she's like the go-to person in the office, and yet she's constantly like
so
hypocritical. She's so judgmental. She, you know, like
she's bitter.
But she's so jealous too, because she does those things to Pam.
My other character, I probably could have argued for better.
You can still argue
No,
for
I'm
one.
not changing my mind. I'm not going to change it.
Okay, well, who's your head character? And then,
My head?
Aaron, you're going to tell us about your heart character.
My
later.
head was
Oh,
Phyllis.
okay.
Phyllis.
Okay. And then my second head was Stanley.
Second head.
Oh, that's my... See, Phyllis and Stanley are like my, you know, honorable
your
mentions.
runner-ups?
Yes, they're...
Yeah.
But for different reasons, just because they're just such good characters.
Yes,
just
I know.
there.
Phyllis is that bitch from beginning to end.
She's very
No,
spicy,
I do like Phyllis.
actually.
She
I
is.
think she's
but,
spicier.
But you wouldn't know, because she looks like this, like she knits.
Well, in
she
the
like
She's
looks like
spicy
this
and
mama
she's
bear
spicy in a
person.
confident way.
Yeah. And she lets, you know, Angela kind of run over her in the beginning.
She does. But then she marries the refrigerator.
She blackmails her.
Vance.
Bob Vance
Bob
of
Vance,
Vance
Vance Refrigeration.
And that gives her so much confidence when she realizes that she's like a hot commodity. She's got this guy. And then she like, I think she evolves from that and just becomes like, starts telling people off and stuff. When Karen Filippelli comes or whatever and is like, and tells her that her perfume smells, you know, accidentally. She doesn't know it's her perfume, but she says it smells like a funeral home.
Yeah.
And then Phyllis is like,
Bob Vance gave it to me.
Yeah, who's Bob Vance? Honey, you got a lot to learn.
A lot to learn.
That's so good.
So good.
And then she eventually like tries to, I think she does take over the party planning committee and like
She does.
becomes Santa on an episode.
Yeah,
She does. She fights to be Santa.
I really could have won with Phyllis, but again, I went with my heart.
I feel like she's a really strong second choice here.
No,
she doesn't
I
really
can't
fit for
change
the
it.
reasons we're
It's too
arguing.
late.
Erin, who was your your heart character then?
My heart character, and I know that Erica's not going to like this either, but my heart character was actually Pam. Because
she just rolled her eyes so hard.
I know. I love her growth throughout the show because at the beginning
growth?
she's
Tell
like,
me where did Pam grow?
I'm going to tell you. Okay.
You're right. I gotta listen. I'm sorry.
I like the final season when
I
she
also wanna
won't
hear-
let Jim pursue his dreams and also is
And
like,
flirts with
just-
the boom
can
box
you just
or the
wait?
boom boy or whatever.
boom boy.
Okay,
That's what
are
they
you
call it
ready?
in the biz.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Erin.
the boom boy. Okay, so she was a pushover in a terrible relationship in the beginning, right? Like Roy treated her terrible.
4-year engagement.
Yeah.
Yeah, her like 3-year engagement. He like never did
she's
anything
such a
nice for her.
loser.
He was just terrible. But throughout the series, I feel like she grows up and she starts going for what she wants. Like she finally tells Jim how she feels. She tries at art school. Even if she fails, she can admit that it wasn't what she wanted. She leaves with Michael Scott Paper Company.
Oh,
She
I do love
eventually
that.
makes
yeah, me
up
too.
her own job because she wasn't happy in the job she had. She like literally made up her own. And
I've done
then
that before.
she has 2 kids and continued to be a great working mom. And I just feel like you don't see working moms in comedic sitcoms ever. And so I love that they like
We didn't
kept
really
her on for
see
that.
her as a working mom, though, if we're being honest. We just saw her as a mom who has a job.
Yeah.
There's a
I mean, if
difference.
anyone, Angela is
Yeah.
also a working mom. She even had to bring her child with her to the office while
And
she
Okay,
was
my
going
point
through
with Angela.
turbulent times.
There's one episode where they try to have like a fun like we're having a pregnancy together and they go on a
and
walk.
Angela was terrible.
Oh, the big pregs and small pregs thing
Yes.
was
Big pregs and
just
small
so
pregs.
bad.
And
It's
then-
so terrible.
And then Angela also, while they're walking, she goes, "I need your advice, Pam. If I had a friend who was pregnant and they were drinking coffee, should I call child services on them?"
Should I
And
call
she
CPS?
goes, "I'm the only other person in the office who's pregnant." And she goes, "Yeah, and you drank out of that mug, and it has like trace amounts of caffeine in it or whatever." And she's like, "Yeah, I think you should call child services." She goes, "Good, as I already did." And
I mean, she
terrible. Okay.
also like called INS on Oscar, so it's not like
INS
that's
on
the
Oscar.
first time.
Well, and she
would
tried to have
happen.
Oscar killed. If
Yeah.
we're talking about things she's done. That
oh,
was
she tried to
terrible.
have
She hired
who
a
killed Dwight?
hitman.
Or no,
Oscar.
Oscar. Because of why?
Because
He was having
sleeping
an
with
affair
her
with her
husband.
husband.
I do like how she comes to an agreement. She has such an old school, like Puritan, traditional, like view of what marriage is like a transaction, and like having a child.
Except for
is
she
a, is a-
cheats on her fiancés.
But she's like, okay, gets together with Oscar and her husband and is like, let's figure this out, and then also like bangs out a contract with Dwight for having a baby. Like everything is so contractual. Like there's
Yeah.
it's so amazing.
Here's the thing,
Okay,
though.
but-
If we're basing this off of, because we said the second best
Who's better? Who's after Michael?
after Michael, if we're doing this type of ranking, Angela's not underneath Michael. Because Michael's not a bad person.
Okay, he is. He's
I mean, he's
pretty bad at
incredibly
the beginning.
sexist.
No,
and
he's
bigoted at the beginning.
ignorant,
yes,
but his heart
Oh,
is pure.
He
yes.
does have a nice
yeah.
heart.
He well, and
He
that's
could
what makes
probably
him
be.
amazing.
He could be educated.
That's what
and
makes him
he
amazing.
wants
He
to
cannot be
learn.
educated.
No. I'm saying
And
he-
Holly makes him better.
He could. No, I'm saying he wants to learn. Like he legitimately.
All right, let's talk about Michael.
He legitimately thinks like the one episode. This is the only
Yes.
quote I can remember, but like. He was like, pizza, the great equalizer. White people like pizza, black people like pizza. Then he goes, wait, do black people
black
like
people like
pizza? So in that moment,
he
because
doesn't
he
know.
literally, it's not that he's being racist. He literally has no idea.
Yeah.
And so then
He's just
even
an
like
idiot.
even the way he like talks to Daryl, like
Yes.
he's not ill intentioned in his actions whatsoever. He just has no experience, and sadly, he never will because of the way he acts. No black person will ever be normal around him. They all just prank him.
Yes.
Like if somebody could just sit him down and be like,
Like
"Hey,
when they
dude,
gave
don't
him
do
weed.
this for this reason,"
When they
then
do
he
what?
would get it.
When they gave him weed, but it was actually like a basil,
Oh,
like a
God.
crazy salad.
Well, that's what I love. That's what I love about Michael, and that's
That's
Michael.
what I'm saying. He's just
Michael's character is the best because
innocent.
he is the most consistent character throughout because he's just dumb, and that's very
no.
easy.
I wouldn't say he's dumb.
He's dumb.
He's innocent and ignorant.
His instinct is always wrong. He's always trying to do the right thing, but his instinct is always wrong.
But he's so pure. His heart is so pure.
And he also has like crazy aspirations. Like I'm going to support all
Have
these
7
children.
kids.
Also,
that's
like
the worst one.
Michael Scott's Tots.
Scott's
Which-
Tots. Oh,
That's one of my favorite episodes.
No,
Oh,
I skip
always-
over it when I rewatch.
I also skip over it. I
I
can't
can't watch it.
That is the one episode that is
yes,
too
it's-
cringy.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
like-
Too cringy.
It literally is painful to
No.
watch.
It
And I don't know,
really
is.
maybe
Can't
just
do it.
because like he ruins those children's lives, you know?
But
Like
here's
that
who
is
Michael Scott
something.
is.
But here's the thing.
No, but
He did
usually
not
he's like
ruin
well
their
intentioned.
lives.
He didn't. He gave them a reason to work hard.
Well,
I mean,
no,
he
I'm
got
saying
them
at
to-
the end of the
false
day,
hope.
he didn't. Yeah, he gave them false hope, but he did not ruin their lives. Their lives were already what they were. You know what I mean? He just gave them
I
false
guess.
hope.
I don't know, just that
That's
moment
what
of
helps me
where you
watch the
think you've
episode.
worked so hard and then you think you're finally going to get there. And he gave them their first moment of, oh, just
But
kidding,
he's-
I
but
lied and
here's
you're
the
not.
sad part,
So
They
now
wrote
you
a
got to start
song.
over.
He thought he could do it.
That's what I'm saying.
And that's
He-
what hurt.
No, but it's so true to his character because he legitimately believes that he can do these
Well,
things.
no, he thought because I remember he met them all when they were in kindergarten,
But
and
he's
the
a failure.
But and see that's the
He is.
thing though. He's not a failure. I hate that success is
doesn't
defined
reach
by
his
your
dreams.
income.
He never
I
reaches his
hate-
dreams. That's
Right.
what
No, he
But
does reach his
he does
dreams
in a
in the
different
end.
way. Yeah, like
His
I
dream
hate
is to
that
get
the
married and have a bunch of kids.
and have a
that's
bunch
what
of
he
kids.
does.
That's what he said he wanted to do
He
when
got
he was
married
a little
to Holly.
boy.
He had a
Well-
bunch
In
of
that
kids.
video, they were like, "What's your dream?" And he was like, "My dream is to have a family where
To be a
everybody
dad."
loves me and people always want to
yes,
be around
but
me."
that's The Office.
But-
He's
no, no, no.
making his coworkers his family, which is what makes the show so good.
But that's what life is for some people.
Yeah.
Their coworkers are their family. But then he does that with those kids. Like he watches them grow up. He gets to be a
Yes.
part of their lives, and that's what he wanted.
But it's
But
not
he
cool.
also promised other things. I don't know. I feel like I had a boss that was similar to Michael Scott when I worked at some random place in
said
college.
racist things and sexist things.
And I absolutely loved him. He bought me cake pops all the time.
Who the-
Like he let me leave if I felt like it to go buy myself cake pops. Like
Why are you getting so much cake pops?
I loved cake pops back then.
So we know the way to Erica's heart now.
Yeah,
Well,
she's just
it was
dropping
like,
subtle hints.
what else do you get at Starbucks if you want a sweet little dessert? You get a
That's,
cake pop.
that's what
Yeah,
I get
that's
my
what they
children
got.
when I go.
So anyways, he was just like that to where it was like just rules didn't really matter. Like you could do whatever you want at your job.
Yeah, because he has no friends in real life, so he's trying to make his
I'm
coworkers
not gonna
his
let
friends.
you talk. I'm not gonna let you put slander on Michael Scott's name.
That's who Michael
I
Scott
don't know. I
is.
just feel like Michael Scott, this big thing is he just doesn't exist in reality. Because at any
You don't think
point
so?
during those years, he could have been like, oh, wait, I don't have nearly enough money saved. I should probably say something.
He doesn't want to let anyone down.
Yeah.
No, but
I think he's just always hopeful.
Yeah, but to
Hopeful.
a point
He's
where it's
so hopeful.
detrimental.
Yes, it's delusional.
Yeah, I would say yes, delusion.
I'd rather, at this point in life especially, hang out with somebody who is delusional and like had this like hope and happiness and like the planet's not burning.
Wait,
Like
what?
people who were like that versus somebody who was like realistically we have 5 years left on the planet.
And most of the time, like, he's harmless. Like, Scott's Tots was an example of when he wasn't, but most of the time he's harmless.
Exactly. So
His
harmless.
delusion
I mean-
is like, he's like, I always invite people to parties and they don't come. Do you know how much guacamole I've eaten? I guess I
Listen.
should make less. But it's like he always makes a ton of guacamole, expecting a ton of people to come to his party, and he never does.
But when he does the guacamole, he's excusing like when Kelly did that thing for Dwight and Jim and
For
was
Dwight
going to
and
have
Jim.
them lose their bonus and like
That's
be
because he
reprimanded.
had someone to commiserate with, because he's like, I understand people not coming to
Yeah,
your
Yeah,
but
he
I mean
has
that is something
empathy.
that Kelly did that was spiteful. You know?
Oh, Kelly was, like I said, she was problematic. Like she
Oh,
did
she
a
was
lot
so
of messed up
petty.
things.
It's so good.
Yeah, she was super messed
She
up.
literally dated Daryl just to make Ryan jealous.
No, she dated Daryl for fun, and then Ryan came back because Ryan wasn't at the office whenever she started dating Daryl.
Oh, yeah, because it's hard to remember if Ryan's there or not because he's so inconsequential.
and then
It's like,
Ryan
is
does-
Ryan there? I don't know.
And then
I
Ryan
can't
does
remember.
come back, and that's when she's like, "I can't be with you. I'm with Daryl now," you know. And then her and Daryl break up.
Via text.
Yeah, I mean
All
that's
right.
the only
Via
reason she
text.
becomes desirable to Ryan.
Yeah.
Again, you know.
Yes. Ryan even says at one point to Pam and Jim, he says, I know that Kelly and I are bad for each other, but I don't like to see her with other people. Is that love?
Woo!
Yeah, he's so messed up.
No,
That
but
boy.
that's how she is with him.
I mean, and they're
Ryan-
just toxic from the beginning. I love how they get together and he's like, I hooked up with her. And then today is Valentine's Day. He's like,
The
I
day
hooked
before
up with her
Valentine's
on
Day.
the 13th of February.
Yes.
Oh my
He
gosh,
just
that's
knew he made a
that's
mistake
today.
from the beginning.
I love Ryan so much. And
I know.
guess who else loves Ryan? the best character of the
one.
show, Michael
Kelly.
Scott. Michael Scott is in love with Ryan.
Oh,
Kelly.
he does love Ryan.
Only until
And Kelly.
Danny comes along, right? That's his name? Because then he wins hottest in the office.
The handsome one. Yeah.
Oh,
He's handsome.
yeah, I forgot about him. Oh my gosh, yes.
But Michael Scott is chasing after Ryan all the time.
But what he's really chasing after, the symbolism is he's
Youth.
chasing after youth.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he just
Well,
wants
and
that chance to
popularity.
like
he
start
sees
over.
Ryan as like the cool kid.
Yes, he
And so
does.
he wants
Yeah.
Ryan to like him, even
Which
though
is
Ryan's not the
funny
cool
because
kid at
Ryan's,
all.
yeah, he's only the cool kid
He's
to
a
Michael
temp.
Scott.
Also, he's only the cool kid in an office setting. That's the thing about all of them is they're only
Yeah.
what they are in this.
They're-
Like Pam's
Jim's a
the-
big fish in a
Pam's
small
the
pond.
quote unquote hot
Yeah.
one in her office, yeah, but in real life, no.
She's okay.
Right. She is no.
but
She's
there's an
a
office.
beautiful woman.
Well, and then Amy
But that's what
Adams
I'm saying
comes
about
in.
an office
Yeah.
setting.
Amy
Like,
Adams is there for like a few episodes, isn't she?
She's not. She doesn't work there though.
Jim
right?
dates her.
I can't remember why she was there, but she doesn't work.
She was
there.
selling
She was,
purses.
soliciting.
Oh yes,
And
selling
then,
person.
yeah. And then she starts dating Jim. But someone was like, oh,
So-
Pam used to be the hottest in the office until this
Yeah, I think
guy
she's just
happened.
there to be a foil as another like hot redhead.
Yeah.
But
Angela,
Pam's not even really a redhead.
Angela cleans her cats with her tongue. We find that out on a surveillance camera on her
So
computer.
gross.
I don't think it's that weird.
So talk about that, Lauren.
Yeah.
Erica doesn't
Yeah,
think that's weird.
definitely some like mental issues there, and but she does love her animals, but just to an extreme.
If I was single, I would do some weird stuff.
Who's the cat that dies? What's the cat's name?
Sprinkles.
Sprinkles.
right?
Yeah, I love when she says my cat died, and Michael Scott goes who, and she goes Sprinkles, and he goes oh God, because he knows her
No.
cats.
He didn't even
Not
say
that
that.
one.
He like named other ones.
Oh, he goes
first.
was it Sprinkles? Yeah.
He was like, "Was it this one? Was it?" Oh, and then she just Sprinkles. He goes, "Oh no, what happened?" Like, see, that's what I mean
He
about
knows-
Michael Scott.
yeah.
Like, he legitimately cares about people, and like to me, that is
He does.
so intimate and like so sweet because you don't have to care about anyone. You
Yeah.
really don't. Especially as a white man boss, like you could just literally be their boss and that's it. But he like
But he doesn't have
wants.
friends in real life.
Yeah, and that's okay. So his coworkers, he's
He
always at
literally
work.
he literally traps.
His friend was like the janitor in
I don't have
school.
friends.
He traps
lunch
Jim
lady.
and Pam to get them to come to that amazing dinner party episode
The dinner party
That was good.
by
But I don't
asking
think-
them if they had any plans.
Top
Yeah,
five.
but they get to the point where they legitimately like enjoy
Yeah.
Michael Scott because they
Yes.
invite him over for dinner when he's sad. But I think they were just trying to avoid like him and Jan together.
It's the same thing with Dwight. It's like they start to see his value.
Like everyone cries when he leaves. Like
course.
it's very emotional when Michael Scott leaves.
I think it's season 6, episode 22. It's like hard for me to watch. Like,
I know.
oh, just thinking about
It's
it. Like,
hard,
I could
but a
just
good
easily
hard.
get emotional
Yeah.
because it really does feel like the dad I never had left me.
Michael Scott.
Very
Michael
dramatic.
Scott is my father.
Yeah, they do a good
Well-
job like showing his growth, and you do start
Yeah.
to like the character and start to like sympathize with him and want him
Yeah.
to succeed because he's so close so many times.
Well, and he gets a better grasp on reality once Holly comes into his life. Like he's finally loved and accepted, so he doesn't have to try as hard. And I feel like it opens his eyes to like real life.
Yeah, but also about Angela and her cats, it's also a horrible thing because she hoards animals. That's just
Animal protection or whatever it's called.
Yeah, they all get taken away at one point.
yeah.
Do they?
Can I just speak?
Yes.
Yes.
When she's living in that like loft and she
lives
gets
in that
kicked out.
apartment.
Oh God, yeah.
I remember that.
She does
They-
like she's on hard times for a minute.
She was like, "Oh, they took 3 sacks."
That's
or
my
something.
biggest problem with Angela.
Is the animal
Yeah.
hoarding?
No, my biggest problem with Angela is that she is this like tough woman in this tiny little body. She like survives all these different things. And then at that one point, she's like almost homeless, drinking vodka from a straw with
gosh,
a little
I don't
kid at
remember
home just
any
because
of
her
this.
like, it's after she like separates from her gay husband. She just becomes a disaster. Like she's literally she's like looking at tents to live. And I'm just like, how did this woman, she didn't really love him. How is she homeless when she still has a job? She's still the head of accounting. Like her life hasn't changed that much. Why is she now almost homeless and having
Because
to
she
live with
gave
Oscar?
up love for this man. Like that was what she was choosing, and she thought she was going to have that like life forever. And then it just suddenly was lost. So she hedged this bet and she lost it, and now she's just resigned herself to
couldn't
like
handle it.
accept this loss. So okay, she messed up, so now she's going to go live in a tent. Which is crazy. I think it takes like Oscar showing that, hey, you have friends and this isn't really over. Like you can still have love and care in people.
I would say Oscar is in that like Phyllis, Stanley, that like they get attention but not as much as others.
Yeah.
I think Oscar's the best out of those characters because Oscar is like
the worst.
what?
Oh, he's so judgmental.
He's also so pretentious. Like
He is really pretentious.
he's the type of person I would hate to be around in real life.
No, he explains everything to us, and literally without him, that office would sink.
Nah, he's douchey though.
Because
he's like the guy who's in the office where someone says, "I want pho," and they're like, "No, it's pho." You know, like they're the one that like corrects that person that it doesn't need to be corrected.
Right.
They're the one that
opposite, but I know what you mean.
Yes, I definitely did mean the opposite. Thank you.
I don't want people listening to think you don't know because you.
No,
do
I do know.
Yeah.
Pho is wrong.
So now
It's
Erica's
pho.
the judgy one correcting people.
No, I appreciate it, Erica.
Erica's
I was
the
just
Oscar
looking out.
of this podcast.
No, see, I don't ever correct anyone. I'll let people be wrong all the time unless I know that they care about it.
Right, and I literally, that happened at work the other day. Some, like, guy corrected one of the girls who was talking, and you could just see on her face, because he doubled down, and he was like, no, I know this is the right way to say it, because of, and it made me think of this, Office episode.
Well,
where,
Oscar...
Oscar was doing the one where they talk about Tour de France, and they make Michael study about China.
The China one? Yeah.
Yes.
Where they think Michael's like smarter than Oscar for a minute.
Oscar saves their asses so many times, though, with his intelligence, though.
So,
but he also almost gets everyone fired when he insists on doing the math himself when Dwight sets up that doomsday machine.
That's true.
Just because you're smart doesn't mean you should be a douche.
I don't think he's always that douchey.
But the problem is, like, he's the only Actually, I think my friend wrote this on Instagram. He's the only normal person in the whole thing.
The only normal person.
And so, like, if you were actually in that setting with all those other people...
What do y'all mean by normal?
He's the only one who's trying to do his job and is not crazy and zany.
But he is crazy.
Yeah.
Is he?
I mean, the fact that he's, like, cheating on Angela's husband, and he has his own, like, little shenanigans. I mean, they go on like a stakeout.
Good at his job.
He's there to kind of foil, but he just doesn't make as strong as impression to me as Phyllis and Stanley. I mean, he's a better character than or stronger character, I guess, than Kevin, because they give him a little bit more story arc.
But Kevin has some of the funniest moments of the series.
Yeah, but he's like so one-dimensional.
Laugh at him funny.
It's sad.
Oh, he's so good.
You're laughing because it's so sad.
The chili.
Like the chili, right?
The chili is
like the
iconic.
only moment of
No, the chili's
Kevin.
iconic.
It's the only thing that Kevin brings to the show.
No,
I mean it definitely
Kevin
is one of the
says
best
so many
things.
great things. He says great things all the time.
Name 5.
I can't write the second, but he says them all the time. They're just funny.
No, it's true. I feel like The Office is really good for like the one-liners that come up on the reels. Kevin's got some good ones.
He's got some good, like the candy bar one where they're all being silent.
I don't remember.
He inspires some good moments. Oh, you don't remember? It's like in the later seasons, they're all silent. And then Kevin opens up a candy bar and he goes, "Oh yeah," and they have to like start all over.
Yeah, they were trying to see how long they could be quiet for.
Mm-hmm. That's so funny. Kevin's so funny.
I was going to say this earlier about Angela's tiny frame is that she shops for clothes at the American Girl doll store.
Girl store. And when during the fire, he's like, "Pick me up. I can't. You're too heavy. I only weigh 82 pounds."
Or like how she like goes on about how she's like a squirrel, a woodland creature, and how they make fun of her for how she eats her stuff. Yeah, and then they have her eat it like a squirrel.
Oh yeah.
There's a scene where Kevin is doing CPR on a dummy, and he's sweating and like dying.
I'm so tired.
And he goes, "I can't keep doing this forever. It's been 20 seconds. Call it." Hi, people. Sorry to interrupt the episode, but I just wanted to say thank you for listening, and hold on tight till the end if you want to hear who we choose as the best character in all of The Office. Meanwhile, if you're enjoying the show, please take a second to go subscribe and look at some other episodes that you might be interested in listening to. And if you enjoy a number of our episodes, we also encourage you to share the show. We're doing a public service here. We're doing our best to pick the best characters in every story that we love, and we need to spread the word. So please, if you have a friend who likes Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings or Avatar The Last Airbender or Grey's Anatomy or Gilmore Girls or Star Wars, Futurama, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Game of Thrones, let your friends know, check us out, and don't forget to listen to some more episodes if you enjoy this one. All right, we'll get back to the show now. Thank you for listening.
I love Stanley, and I love him because he is truly me whenever I have to work in a setting with other people. Like, Stanley, he was another one that I just feel like I should have gone with. He's sassy. He's not taking anybody's BS. He's at work to work. He wants to clock in. He wants to clock out. But when there's snacks, he's excited. Like, there's some days of work where I was only excited because I knew, like, oh, yeah, I get to get a cake pop, you know? So
Pretzel
it's like,
day.
Oh no,
I get
Wednesday
it.
I legitimately wanted to work from home, but I knew my coworker was bringing us breakfast tacos, so I did go into the office.
See, it's like the food gets you excited, and Stanley always showed that, and I just love that for the culture, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like he's really relatable because everyone has
He is
been in
very
some
relatable.
sort of job where they are just like waiting till,
If anything, I
waiting
feel
for
like
the clock to run
he's the
out.
most normal character because he's the
I
one
agree.
who, like,
I
that's how
agree.
you would act if you were
Yeah,
around
that
all
could
of
be
that
true.
crazy
Okay,
all the
but
that
do
could
you
be true.
remember? Do you remember when like Jim accidentally had him like drink his cold orange juice instead of his hot coffee, and so they started doing all these things to see what Stanley wouldn't notice?
Yes, and the only thing
Yes.
he noticed was the clock was wrong. It was 5 o'clock.
Because he
God
was ready
dang,
to go.
he's ready
But
to get
no,
out of
it's
there.
not even that he didn't notice. He's probably like, I am unfazed. I do not care
Yeah,
about
yeah.
a thing.
No, like
I work
Andy-
with all these idiots. Like, he probably goes home to his wife and he's like, you know what? They got me messed up today. I work with so many stupid people. But
Yeah.
he's doing it because he's got to do it. Clock
I
in,
know, but
clock out,
Andy
baby.
is like shirtless, and Kevin dresses as Phyllis, and
Yeah.
Pam
We
says
don't-
"I love you."
Yeah,
and
he
doesn't
just
even,
phases
like,
it all
blink.
out.
That's literally what I would do at a job too. Like, if people were trying to get a rise out of me, I would sit there and pretend none of them existed.
And I love how his story arcs are like, he tries sometimes, like, to join the craziness, like when they had the competition at the
Yeah.
beach to become the manager. And so he's like, all right, I'm going to do this. And then he tries to do the crazy, and he's like, nah, I can't do this.
exactly.
Okay,
He reels back.
I'm going to go
he reels
back.
back. Yeah.
He was like,
Because it's
He's
just
like-
not
he's like
him.
Eeyore. He's like Eeyore or something. Like reels back immediately.
yes.
I
I definitely have Eeyore energy.
We don't need to spend a lot more time on Kevin, but I just remembered one thing that's funny about him is he always says like idioms, and just the way he says them are funnier. Like sometimes Batman's got to take off his cape. Like he just says things like that are just so dumb coming out of his mouth. Like I think one episode he says, "Oh man, my dogs are barking" or something like that. Like it's just so funny. It's so funny to listen to him say these normal things, but they sound so weird coming from him for some reason. He also says, this is the last quote I'll read. Whenever I try to make a taco, I get too excited and crush it. That's insane.
That's a big mood, though. I get that.
Yes.
I understand, like, trying to eat any type of food and destroying the packaging. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I also love Toby.
No,
Because-
no one loves
No.
Toby.
You need Toby to hate on. You need him. That character's so
No.
necessary.
I don't hate Toby.
And also, there's a lot of good Michael Scott quotes because he's so mean to Toby. That's the
He's
one
so
person Michael
mean.
Scott is mean to. He is so mean to Toby on purpose.
And I can't remember why.
He tried to get him
though.
caught
There
with
was-
drugs.
There was, a,
He
They
just
called the
always hates
police.
him.
there was a backstory on why he didn't like Toby.
Because
but I
he's
don't remember.
HR and he gets called out by
Oh,
HR all the
right,
time.
right.
He's the worst person for HR because he's so like problematic with the things he says. He
Yeah, I feel
freaking
like
kissed
Toby was
Oscar.
just okay, but then, that moment where he just puts his hand on Pam's leg,
Oh,
just
God, and
that
he
level
runs.
of creepiness.
And then he runs
Oh,
away.
it is so
And he-
creepy.
and then
And then
he
he like
quits.
literally goes to Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like
He
after...
jumps a fence.
Yeah, no, he jumps
Oh,
the
it
fence
just
and then
jets off.
decides
Yeah.
the next episode he's moving to Costa Rica.
Yeah, he
Yes.
just quits and he's done. I just felt like after you watched that the first time, like I just couldn't like Toby any other time
But
I
there-
watched The
there are
Office.
so
That
many-
moment just sticks with you.
He's like a human punching bag. Like he's so used to just getting beaten around by Michael Scott that he has no energy left. Like he's so low energy because he'll say something and Michael Scott will immediately just hate on him. It's so good.
I don't know. I don't like how he takes the victim mentality because he, like when Pam and Jim get married and he has to go into the
That's
church
annoying.
and the why me?
Yeah.
And I feel like he does that, kind of.
They were trying
often.
to give his character some more to do, I think, but it made him seem kind of
But there was
pathetic.
nothing to give him to do.
And it's
Yeah,
like,
he's just a punching bag, but you need a
Yeah.
punching bag. It's fun.
That's fair.
Who else do I like that we haven't talked about? I like Jan. I think Jan added so many plot points to that
Okay.
show. She made the show so
Jan's the
complex.
worst.
She made the show complex though,
How so?
because Ryan, Michael, and Jim all apply for her job. Karen Filippelli applies for her job. That's big. She is at first the person who's like, she's the other like Toby to Michael. Like she's got to keep him in line, but then she ends up having this like relationship with him that's not good. Then she like tests Michael's morality and like loyalty to the company by trying to get him to lie for her. Then the dinner party episode is only good because it's them two being so uncomfortably just awkward to everybody.
So uncomfortable.
I watch a show.
She
with her
ruins his
now.
relationship with Holly because of the baby she brings in, and he won't date Holly immediately because of
Astrid.
that.
No, he and Holly are dating.
And then he stops.
No, he doesn't
Because of
stop.
Jan.
He pretends to be mean to her during
Holly?
that episode. Yes,
Yeah.
and he says one of the sweetest things in that episode because he holds baby Astrid, sorry.
He says Astrid.
Yeah, he holds her, and he's like, and then at the end of the episode, he's like, he goes and basically apologized to Holly and gives her a hug because he was treating her poorly the whole day. He told her ahead of time, like, I'm gonna treat you badly,
But he was
because Jan's pregnant and she's feeling insecure about her. She's gonna feel insecure about her big body because she's pregnant. But then she gets there, obviously she's not pregnant, but he still was like, I have to treat her mean. And before Jan left, she was like, hey, just do me one favor, don't date Holly. Like, that was the only thing she said to him.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
she
Jan made the show. She mixed things up so much on the show.
Nah, Jan's the worst.
The show would be so placid if it weren't for Jan.
Michael said, he was like, I love babies.
That's an overstatement.
When I held baby Astrid, I didn't really feel anything though. And he goes,
Damn.
but he said, but when I held Holly, I felt everything. And I was like, oh, so sweet. Or he was like, I felt
is sweet.
something. I really felt something or something like that. It was so sweet. Yeah, no, Jan's the worst. Obviously, the moments.
She makes the show. She gives the show something to do.
Because I hated him having to go to trial or court or whatever you call it when you have to like have I don't even know. But
Or
whenever,
arbitration.
Whatever.
When she was,
they
like,
had to do that, and
suing
she
the
like
company.
brought his diary and like did all of this
She's so
stuff.
bad.
I was like, she is terrible. Like, you don't do this to somebody you love,
But he
like
stands
your
up
partner.
to her. She gives him moments of growth. Like,
Oh, trust me, I know. I was like, yes, Michael, you don't let him do that to you. Like, when anybody's mean to Michael, I get mad.
but you have to having that bad relationship helped him have a good relationship with Holly.
You should never have to have a bad relationship to understand what a good
It does
relationship
help you put in
is.
perspective. You're like, dang, I don't want that to happen again.
You're right. Maybe I should reevaluate my relationships.
But this isn't a
Well, I won't know if this is a good relationship though until I have a bad one. So
Wait, what?
yeah. So how do I know this is good?
I don't know.
Exactly.
All right, well,
Now we're
we gotta
crossing
go.
into marital counseling.
we're going to turn this into the dinner party episode, but like podcast
No, babe.
version.
Babe.
Snip, snap, snip,
Babe.
snap.
Break my LCD flat screen that I have, like my pride and
I
joy.
break the mic of
$200.
this right now. Anyways, I watched this show called The
Take
Bold
me
Type.
by
Wait, hold
the
on.
hand.
The Bold Type, or wait, yes, that's what it's called.
Oh,
and
Jan.
Melora Hardin, who plays Jan, is the boss on that TV show. Obviously, this is now, so she's way older and it's way different. But I like completely forget that she is Jan when I watch that show. And then there's like small moments where she'll make a face, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's Jan. I completely forgot. Anyways, it's a great show. If you've never seen it, it literally just ended. It was like my favorite show of all time.
More than The Office.
Oh, wait. No, not more than Office. But here's the thing. Shows have to be split into genres. I don't think...
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's my favorite show of that genre.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
fair,
yeah.
because The Office was my favorite background show, and now that it's
Right.
no longer just easily accessible on Netflix, it's
It's your
not there
favorite
anymore.
background show.
Yeah,
No,
I like to
agree.
have
I
shows
miss
on in
having
the
it on
background.
in the background. I agree.
I didn't have to do any research for this podcast because I literally have watched The Office so many times because
Erica
I literally
has
would just
too.
watch it on repeat. Just
Lauren, I
have it in the
literally
background.
thought
Really easy to watch again.
about getting a Peacock account. I think that's...
Peacock.
I literally
Yes.
thought about getting a Peacock account, just paying for it for a month because I miss watching The Office. The thing is we have the DVDs, but I miss the convenience of watching it on my phone.
No,
It
it's
just
free.
was so nice
It's
to
free
just
on
kind of like
Peacock.
have it on your
Wait, it's
phone and like
free?
be
No,
watching.
First season
Just
only.
season
Oh.
one.
No, I've watched.
season.
Nope, I've watched all of them on Peacock, and I don't pay for
No.
anything. You have to watch ads.
Oh my God. Hold on. Let me go check.
Really?
No,
Okay.
no, we're doing
Yeah,
a
'cause Matthew
podcast.
Sorry.
Offered to buy me The Office because he was like, I know you're gonna miss this because you watch it all the time. But I turned him down. I was like, we don't need to spend money on The Office right
You know who
now.
bought
for
The
you.
Office? Dwight. He bought the whole office. He bought the
He
building.
did.
He did.
Mm.
And then he almost ruined it with being cheap.
No, but what he did though is he saw that Pam was getting defeated because she couldn't figure out how to like make the office better when he was doing all these super cheap things, and so he like told, what was that kid's name, Nate to go like show her the rule book and like gave her a win because he knew she needed it. Like he has this soft heart.
cared
and
about
No,
Pam.
that is
Yeah, even
really
at the
sweet.
end,
That was a
Pam's
good
like
moment.
sitting in his
baby.
car talking about how he's not doing it because he wanted to, because he had feelings or anything. But then he's
Yeah.
like looking in his rearview mirror at like Pam and Jim hugging because he like
You know what's
loves
funny?
them.
There were a lot of moments with Pam where when she would approach him when he was in a moment of vulnerability, he would respond positively and like they would become closer. And that
Yeah.
was the opposite with Angela. Anytime you would think that they might have like a moment of positivity, Angela would always hit back.
Bite back, yeah.
it would always be bad what she would say back. Like, and sometimes she didn't even know she was being judgmental, I think, or maybe she was being judged. Like, that's just her natural state.
Well, I think they had a little bit of back and forth there, because I think back to the Hay episode where she really, you know, was starting to like fall in love with him again, and then when he kind of snubbed her to like sell that, you know, you could tell it hurt. Like, I think they had those moments because they're just very toxic for each other for most of the like series. So they would just like go back and forth between like snapping back and like hurting each other. Although I guess you could say Kelly and Ryan kind of do that too.
Yeah, they're
way
terrible
worse
for each other. Yeah.
Oh, so bad.
Kelly and Ryan are both just superficial people.
Can we just remind the whole world that the very last episode, Ryan leaves his baby with a stranger to run off with Kelly.
And Kelly leaves a doctor, like a way better man, to go off with Ryan. It's so good.
No, because it means that they haven't changed. The only thing that changes with Ryan throughout the whole season is his like sense of style. That's literally it. He's the same terrible person from beginning to end.
He has blonde like tips, like when he comes back from the bowling alley.
And at one point, he has a fedora and some like
Paper
hipster
Company
glasses.
Yeah, I like how every time you think Ryan is going to get better, they just like knock him back. Like after he's been arrested and he got fired and everything, he comes back into the office and he's like, you know, I'm really sorry, I'm trying to do better. And then when it doesn't immediately go the way he wants it to, he's like got a list of people he wants to get back at. Yeah,
but he's like the epitome of that whole like of failing. Is like whenever Jim is the manager, he wants Jim wants Ryan to do something, and Ryan's like playing Tetris.
Yeah.
He goes, honestly, Jim, I think you have kind of a vision for it, and I'm a perfectionist, so I would rather you just do it than me. You know, I'd rather not do it at all than like mess it up. And so he's the kind of guy where like he'll bail if it's not feeling great, but he also will suck up whenever he wants, like he needs help, get back in. But he's always got Michael. Michael will always bring him back in because he like is in love with him.
Okay, but my problem with Ryan though being the best character is there are so many times when he's like not there, and I don't think about it, and then he just like shows up. I'm like, oh yeah, that kid. Like I don't miss him. I don't think about him. I don't feel like there's a void. He's just like pops up.
Right.
Like when him and Callie are like, oh, we got divorced, we got married. Like nobody cared. Nobody knew. It was like whatever.
He can never escape. He keeps trying to fly out of the nest, and he keeps getting pulled back in, and he becomes a temp again at a certain point because he can't ever get better. He's stuck in the office. I love whenever he comes back as the secretary for a few days, and he goes and tries to apologize to Jim. And he goes, I have the quote. He says, I thought that I wanted to be the youngest VP in the company's history, but I realized that that's not what life's about, you know. Now I feel great, and I'm giving back. I'm doing community service to clean up the neighborhood. And Jim's like, you're talking about the judge-ordered community service that you have to do?
Yeah,
and he goes, I don't need a judge to tell me to keep my community clean. And he goes, but the judge did say that, though, right?
Yeah, this is the moment I was just talking about where he like goes and writes it in his notebook. He's like tries to be good for like half a second, and when Jim like fires back and it doesn't immediately work, he's like, all right, he goes in the book.
Kevin comes and gives
what
him
does
a
Kevin
nibby.
say? Yeah.
He goes, fired guy.
Because he started the fire.
Yeah, I do really enjoy how they made it where that one episode where he's like, I don't want to be that guy in the office. You know, Stanley's the puzzle guy. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be here for that. And that very same episode,
he's the fire guy.
Yeah, then he becomes the fire guy.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Ryan, at the beginning, he starts off as like a temp, a millennial, like just going to the office to get experience and stuff like that. And then he like rises to power. He was
actually in business school. Like he was actually trying at the beginning.
And then he becomes, you know, a VP or whatever. And so his character has all that, and then he falls, and then after that he just becomes a yo-yo who just is stuck and can't ever get past that. But he does change because at the beginning he's not.
I guess he changes, but he goes downhill.
He's not so douchey at the beginning.
I think worse.
It's when he becomes VP and he gets power, and then he like starts doing drugs, then he becomes a douchebag. And that's when he says things like, you know, to Kelly, he apologizes to her, and he's like, look, I was in my mid-20s. I was still processing 9/11. Like, he's making excuses for his behavior, and he blames 9/11 for his behavior. That's like
10 years
the
later.
best. It's the best line, I think. It's so good.
I think my favorite Ryan moment is when he's following Kelly, and he's sitting at the bus station with his garbage bags. And he's like, these aren't garbage. These are my clothes. But this is an efficient way to do this.
Making excuses that don't make any sense. He also tries to hit on Erin when she first comes to the office, and he shows her his photo album because he's just a douchebag at that point.
because he's a photographer. Well, he's a hipster.
Yeah, he goes, I just find beauty in uncommon places, you know, homeless people, graffiti. And then he goes, have you ever been photographed before?
And then I think he's
just
showing her
so
like
gross.
naked photos of Kelly from The Office or something. 'Cause
Maybe.
they
I
like
think
make
you're
some
right.
sort of reference to where he's like, there's no clothes or something.
Yes.
I feel like Ryan is one of the few characters where they put a lot of effort in the beginning into his like story, and then he just kind of fades off, and then he just
becomes
like
a
is
douchebag.
constantly failing. Yeah, they don't put in
Yeah.
as much effort towards the end. He's just like there for those douchey moments.
I have a good Kelly quote here. I guess she goes to school at some point, or she takes courses or something.
No,
She
she
does
gets
the,
into the leadership, the
yeah,
minority,
the minority.
Yeah, she goes to
the
the
minority
minorities.
leadership.
executive
At Yale.
leadership.
She goes, guys, I am so
I'm
smart
really
now.
smart
like,
now.
You could ask me,
Who's the...
what's the biggest business in the whole world? And I'd be like, blah, 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 blah. And I'd tell you the exact right answer.
When she
I
says
did
that, I'm
like
like,
that a
I
lot.
get this
I
moment.
just love how just through the whole time when she speaks, she always speaks with confidence. Like when she's talking about her
Yes.
tapeworm, she's like, I got a tapeworm from Creed, and it's just going to go in there, and it's going to eat it, and it's going to be done, and I'm going to be, what I want.
And she looks awful.
And I'm gonna look awesome.
Yeah.
Or when she
like,
like
depressed.
argues with the people about being a size 2, she's like, I've been a size 2 my whole life. I know what a size 2 feels like. This does not feel like a size 2.
She also, I have a quote here. Basically, nothing gets done around here unless I threaten to kill myself.
But the way, no, it's not just her quotes though. It's the way
She's
she says
insane.
it as though it's normal.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, oh yeah, basically nothing done unless I threaten to kill myself.
Yeah,
and then
like
like
when
continues
she-
to go on.
When she claims to be pregnant, and then they just show a pan of her like during the interview, and she just shakes her head real quick. No,
Yeah, she's like,
it's not a
no.
big deal. Like, no, of course
No.
not.
What does she say to Ryan when Ryan's like trying to, oh yeah, they're trying to figure out whomever or whoever, and she goes, Ryan used me like an object or something like that.
Oh, yes.
She also tells Ryan off at some point, like she shouts something at him. What does she shout at him?
How dare you?
Oh, how dare you? I have a question. How dare
How
you?
dare you?
That's so good.
No, she's funny.
We don't like Jim, I guess. Do we all agree that Jim's not who we would pick?
No.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Because he was a bully in the beginning, and then why after that?
I mean, Jim's
I mean,
fine.
he's just fine.
Yeah.
I still. Oh, I should tell you, my friend Ryan came up with a good thing. Like Jim and Pam is still something that you just love.
You do
I feel.
watch the show for it. You do.
You do watch
The
the
will they,
show for
won't
it.
they?
Yeah,
The will
no,
they,
for
won't
sure.
they?
No, they're going to Niagara Falls is so iconic to me that I've decided whenever we move to Niagara Falls, I'm already.
Wait, we moved to Niagara
I'm sorry.
Falls?
Whenever we move to Canada, I already have like the perfect picture planned, and if it doesn't happen, like whatever, I'll kill myself too. I have the perfect picture planned where we're gonna have our blue ponchos and like take pictures in front of the Niagara Falls on the little boat with our family, and that's my welcome. That's my we moved picture. So we'll see if we'll see when it happens.
So what's wrong with
Manifest it.
the relationship, Erin? What were you saying about it? You were saying what?
No, she was saying we all, we even though we don't love him,
We love
we
Jim
they have
and
some
Pam
really
together.
sweet
Like I
moments,
still
yeah.
think that moment when like Jim asks Pam out, I still just like I don't know. It's just still one of my favorite moments ever.
What about their proposal in like the rain or whatever halfway?
Yeah,
Is that a good
I
moment?
think it's really sweet. They both have things that like, if they were like your real friends, you would be like,
Yeah.
no, you can't do that.
I don't like him surprising her with a house. I feel like that's a decision you have to make together.
I don't think they actually were meant to be couple. Like I feel like he would have thrived way more with Karen Filippelli.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
he
Someone
would
who
have
they
been a
pushed
much
each
better.
other.
Yeah, like also she just kind of was less like
She was serious.
she was serious and she was just a grown up. Like Pam was just to me really immature.
She was
And they
figuring
did
herself
grow-
out still
They
a lot.
grew together, but at the same time, Jim had already seen like he was growing, and he decided to resort like go.
Yeah.
What's it called? Like regress for
Yeah,
Pam.
I
And
see
then
that.
while he was with Pam, it was kind of like. Yeah, we're together.
Settle?
Like,
Like, almost like they're settling?
Yeah, like okay, let's move into my childhood home.
Oh boy, yeah.
Yeah,
Damn.
that
But
was
when
just
you
a
like
whole
watch it
weird
from the
moment.
beginning, when you watch it from the beginning and see how he's loved her like from the very beginning of it,
Yes.
it's
That
like
is
so
cool.
satisfying that they're like
That's
together
true.
and
No,
in love.
for sure.
But I mean,
For
they
sure.
did have moments where you're like, does he really love her, or the idea of her Because I mean, in
true.
some of the
But
ways
he
when he
gives
just
up
like,
everything for her.
No, he definitely loved her because there was
Yeah.
no idea of her. Like, she was the most bland person ever that, like, for him to go from Karen to her, he had to have loved
He
her.
loved her, yeah.
oh
totally.
yeah, but I think it took a moment of like him being away from her because just when he like tried to confess to her during casino night, I was like, that was just uncomfortable because she already said no and then he came back and then
He was a shoo-in
he
for that
loved
VP
her.
job, and he turned it down to come back and ask her out.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was gonna get that
That's
job.
what
And he
I'm
gave
saying.
up
That's why I'm like,
athlete to
that's-
like be with her for a year.
Yeah, which sucks.
I'm saying,
But
like,
then-
he
I
just,
hate that.
he
got to go
settled a
back. I
lot
kinda
to
hate that
make
too.
her happy, but I feel like she barely cared about his happiness.
No,
That's what I'm saying.
think
and I
she
feel like
just
even
didn't
when
know
he
how.
settled, he wasn't happy either. I think that was just the problem is that he
Yeah.
thought, okay, if I do these, then everything will be okay. And I don't
No,
think
but,
that they
like-
realized they had to address that they weren't happy just in general.
Yeah, but at the end when she's like, I'm afraid you're going to resent me. And he like made that video of all the points together. And he's like, you are my everything. Like, I truly believe that he was happy to be there for her. Now, as
Here's
a
my
wife,
thing.
I'm watching and I'm like, girl, let
Wait,
him go.
did he have kids at that time?
Yeah.
2 kids.
Oh, they did have kids?
Yeah.
That does make it a little bit more difficult because for me, like, if Jonathan and we did not have kids and he was like, hey, I need to move somewhere and be there for 6 months.
For 3 months.
I'd be
Yeah.
like, go, dude. I'll come
No.
visit you like every month, but like,
It
go.
is harder with kids, but I still
Yeah, it
feel
is.
like, I don't know. That's the thing I didn't love about Pam. Actually, when I was talking back and forth with Ryan, she pointed out all the reasons, like how I had my 3 reasons for Pam. She pretty much negated all of them, which is why I chose not to go with her. And like,
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons is like, it is more complicated, but like, I don't know. Like sitting here as a grown adult with 2 children, I want to be like, let him follow his dream, girl. Like, figure it out.
Well, because he let her
You
follow
have
her
your
dream
mom-
in the
yeah.
beginning.
But also at that point, I would have been like, if that's your dream, like, let's save up and I'll move with you.
Yeah, do it together.
Like, what are you doing as a receptionist in Scranton?
Well,
that
it was
you
like a
can't-
3-month tour that he had to like travel all around.
Oh, okay.
But I think
To,
they
like,
were, you know, it was
whatever.
before that even then that she was like trying to get him to like quit. That they were like having those issues.
They
I don't know.
were.
I feel like they just didn't know how to like have actual like serious conversations. Like he didn't know how to like consult her and
Yeah.
talk about it because they should have talked about like the house and they should have
Right.
talked about
Yeah.
you know even her coming back from art school. They probably should have had a conversation than her just showing
Yeah.
up.
And he
Yeah.
wanted, it was a lot of big gestures without talking.
But they figured
know.
it out. They were
Yeah.
fine in the end.
They did. They made it work. They
They
did their
made it
best.
work.
I mean,
They
even
had
though
little
like
baby Cece and PP.
right, they were cute. And then I do think that it was a nice like moment at the end. You know, when Pam sells the house without telling
Yeah.
him. So that he can go and follow his dream. I do think that that was a nice little
That was
way to
good.
like wrap it up, and it was
Here's
sweet.
the thing, people. If
too.
y'all are married, you got to be talking to each other. You can't
I know,
be
it's
doing
true.
big. You can't be surprising.
That's what I'm saying. So many
I
big
just bought a
gestures.
house. I don't know how you do any of
Don't-
this by yourself.
Right? Like, don't ever surprise me. I'm never gonna
I
surprise
bought us a
you.
boat, by the way.
Ew.
Oh, which, by the
No,
way, speaking
but
of
it
boats,
fell in
we have
line.
not mentioned Andy at all.
Oh
Ugh.
yeah, or Erin.
No, I
but-
mentioned Erin. I like Erin a
But
lot.
we don't have
I
time.
like
That's
Erin.
probably why.
Okay,
Well-
but Andy, I feel like I could have completely done without his whole second half of the storyline. Like he
Right,
became
For
manager,
100%.
went
he
on a
gets so much
boat.
worse.
He should
gets
have
so
never
much
been the boss.
worse.
Right.
Ignore Andy from that point on. Once he became the boss on, I'm over him.
I really enjoyed Andy's character when you were feeling sorry for him because he's being cheated on by Angela. He's like, look, here are 4 venues that I paid for in advance for us to go check out. And she shoots them
Yeah.
down like each in 1 second, like
I
tells him
know.
why she can't go to them. And he's like, all right, my flower, well, I'll go figure something else out. Like he's so
But then he
like,
beats Dwight in a duel with his Prius.
he does.
Oh,
he
that was
does.
a golden moment.
It's horrible how Andy gets treated in that moment. So you feel so bad for him.
Well, I mean, everyone was pretty terrible to Andy because everyone knew that Angela and
Yeah.
Dwight were together.
Right.
And
he
no
gets
one
pissed
told
off at them legitimately.
He should.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but if I knew that one of my friends was cheating on another one, I would say something.
Oh my
yeah,
gosh, me
they shouldn't have
too.
gone so long without like
No.
finding out. Someone, you know, how do you not just tell them?
I think Erin was a great late addition. I think her whole
I did like her.
being her like scrappy I was adopted story. Like I lived in
Foster
what is it?
care?
Foster care story. I like that a lot. I
she,
think I
like,
liked
Put her hair over her, and she's like, "In foster homes, my hair was my room."
yeah, I loved her like earnestness, like how people would tell her to do things and she just nod her head and like start doing it, and it'd be completely wrong. Like she'd listen to the wrong things and stuff.
Well,
I
like
loved
when
that.
she was bobbing for apples and she ate 2 full apples under the water.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
See, I feel like if we're going for just like lighthearted, make me smile characters, I like Erin more than Kelly, because I feel like Erin has that same vibe.
Yeah,
but without
for sure.
the really intense character flaws.
Yeah. Kelly just lasts a lot longer.
Yeah, it's true.
Do y'all have anything else you want to say about Angela or Dwight?
No, I mean, I'm a little sad that Erica doesn't think Dwight's funny. Like,
no, okay. I can agree with everything you said, though, like his change and all that type of stuff. Here's the thing, though, about my humor. It takes a lot to make me laugh. The Office is one show that legitimately makes me laugh, and it takes a lot to actually make me laugh. Dwight, to me, is just... He has funny moments, but I wouldn't say, like...
I feel like he's more of a prop than generally funny.
Oh, no. The funniest Dwight moment, though, for me, and see, this will describe what my humor is when he has all the wigs on, and he turns around each time. That is the funniest Dwight moment to me.
I almost put that on his resume, that he has a wig for every person in the office.
So that to me is funny. But like when it comes to him as just him being himself, something that he did trickled down and made all the other characters funny for me.
But he's also very true to his character from the beginning to the end.
We all have the show for different reasons. For me, it is to feel good. The only time I ever thought about the story was when they did the whole Pam and Jim, her flirting with the guy, and they broke the wall, like the third wall or whatever it's called, in season 7.
No,
That's when I
that.
was like, oh my gosh, Pam's awful. And then I started thinking more about it. But similar to you, Erin, with Gilmore Girls, I've never overthought this show. Like,
No,
I've never
you just enjoy it.
I've never sat down and broken apart each character and thought about their value. And I've literally never thought about a storyline or like the plot or like them growing as people. Never once.
No, because you just enjoy it in the moments. But I feel like when I was rewatching it with this in mind, and like I would watch the parts where Michael was really funny, like when he does all the ridiculous videos, like Welcoming to Scranton or the Scranton Witch Project.
Rap,
like,
Dwight,
but Dwight's always there, and I feel
He's
like he's always
man.
there.
Right,
he's the
but I
right
feel
hand
like
man.
anyone could have been there, and it would have been funny.
No,
me.
but it wouldn't have been like when Jane
Dwight
was
is so
pregnant,
steadfast.
and
Yeah,
Michael was trying. I mean, listen to all the things that Dwight has done for Michael. When Jan was pregnant and Michael was preparing for the baby, he like had a watermelon under his stomach and pretended to give birth.
Yeah, you're right. That was
when Michael
pretty funny.
was making the video for his future child,
Yes,
and he wanted
which
to
is so
take the
bad.
bra off of Pam. And Pam was like, no. And so then Dwight put on a bra so that Michael could show his child how to take a bra off somebody. Like, nobody would do that
And
but
he
Dwight.
couldn't
you're
do
right.
it.
You're right. Those are definitely moments.
No.
But
Okay.
it's moments
Dwight
of
is very
Michael and
loyal.
Dwight. That's
Yeah.
the thing for
But hold
me.
on.
It's Michael and Dwight, not just Dwight by himself.
When
But
Dwight,
if we
Those
say
are
Michael's
good.
the best, Dwight
Michael
would be the
goes-
second best.
when Michael
That's the
goes,
whole
hey,
premise.
will you do the egg thing? And he goes, crack the egg
Egg
on
on
your
your
head.
head
And let
with
the
the
milk
red
run
cord.
down.
Yeah,
You
no,
want-
their
you want me to give you the
relationship-
shivers?
Their relationship is definitely the best relationship of the show.
Parkour.
Yeah, no,
parkour.
yeah. That's true.
Parkour.
I also love when Michael, because he'll help Michael do anything.
I know, but
like
here's
when Michael
what's
was going
messed
to
up.
jump off a building. Do you remember?
Yes, and then he
And then
he
he
gets
the
suicidal.
watermelon.
Slut.
But
or
then
like
he
the
really
time
gets
he
suicidal.
like stayed at the office when he went off with Jan, and he was like waiting for Michael to come back safe.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Or when
or
Michael
when-
went off to the woods
The
by
woods?
himself.
Yes, I was gonna say the woods, and Dwight is there the whole time. And also Dwight is like, he's such a survivalist, and he's like, he realizes he's about to
Yeah,
eat
he's
poisonous
legit.
berries. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. I agree with everything y'all are saying, but at the same time, I feel like what's his name? Oh my gosh, it's so late. I can't even think of
Dwight?
anything. No, Andy.
Andy.
No.
Andy and Michael's relationship is very similar. Like,
Really?
No.
I feel like Andy
But I
could have
think-
done those exact same scenes of the bra, and he would have been so eager. It would have still been funny to me.
But wait,
Like,
I think they did
it
a
would have
whole
been the same
episode.
humor.
But they did a whole like thing where they
did.
showed that Andy's
Andy's
was
trying to replace him.
ingenuine. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah, right, but I'm
it
saying
was
He was
like,
like
why
trying
it
to
didn't
be
work.
assistant.
Because they
Andy's a
had
ladder
that,
climber.
yeah, because
He
they
wants to
had
get
the
to
whole
top.
thing where when Dwight was fired and Andy stepped in as
Yeah,
Michael's number
Michael hated
2.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was just so miserable. That's when he realized, hey, Dwight is like really a good person and my
Well,
friend.
Dwight really
when
loves
Andy's just
Michael.
kissing ass. Oh yeah, he loved him.
We're like, yeah, Andy
Dwight
was just
also-
kissing his butt
he also
to like
just
move
has
up.
no personality in context of like having a conversation with someone. So I'm sure Michael and
I'll
Dwight.
tell you facts about survival
no,
all
I'm
day.
saying,
Bears,
I'm sure.
beats,
I'm saying
Battlestar
personality as
Galactica.
in like Michael. Okay, so for instance, for me, if somebody like they're both annoying, but Andy's annoying is on an elevated level and Dwight's is more muted. So I feel like for Michael, it's probably like he was like, you know what? I'd rather have the muted annoyance than the elevated annoyance. You know what I mean? Because like that's kind of how like kids are sometimes. Like they're annoying, but I'd rather have the quiet annoying one than have the crazy annoying one.
Well, I feel like
it's
Dwight
more of a genuine and ingenuine.
Genuine, exactly. I feel like he's like a genuine hard worker. He genuinely wants to do his job well. He genuinely wants to protect
Michael
people.
doesn't care about those things.
He beats
but that's
Ryan's
what makes it better.
He beats Ryan's automated sales system.
Oh,
Dwight
yeah.
does.
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think to Michael, it's
Beats
just you
the
can
internet.
tell that, you know, Andy was being ingenuine, and he realized that he didn't like that. He thought he just wanted, like, a yes man. He thought he just needed someone to, like, go along with him. And he realized, no, he needed that, like, connection that him and Dwight had.
My last thing about Ryan that I'll say is that
thing.
without him, Michael Scott Paper Company doesn't succeed. So he's essential in that. And I love that Michael Scott Paper Company.
I thought Pam was more essential than Ryan.
Yeah.
But Michael Scott had to go get Ryan. He had to go recruit Ryan for that. And Ryan, Pam, and Michael Scott, they brought down Dunder Mifflin and they tricked them into buying their company. Like that was so, I love that plot.
They lucked into success. I don't feel like Ryan was the reason for the success. I feel like they legitimately lucked into it.
Ryan was essential.
If anyone, Jim was their success because Jim's the one who told them or didn't tell anyone that they were bankrupt and kind of did the whole thing to get them to sell.
That was so anxious. Like, what am I trying to say? Anxiety.
I love it when Michael's like, I'm not going to say anything. And then
Michael Scott, like, you're waiting
and
for him
then
to blow
the elevator
it.
doors open. I'm going to say something.
Yeah, and then he just turns
so
around
anxious.
and is like totally owning the moment too when he gets in there.
And he makes the right choice. Instead of taking the money, he knows that they need jobs.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, Michael was good there.
Well, there's a lot of times where, like, when Jim becomes co-manager or whatever with him, where you find out that Michael, he does have some intuition about certain things, like don't combine birthdays. And he understands how people will respond to things.
Well, and he made
really
that
well.
When he went to Chili's with Jan and that one guy, and Jan's like, this is such a waste of time. And then he ends up making this huge sale.
He understands people, which is so funny because he can't make friends, but he understands
sales.
He understands how they'll react whenever things happen because of, you know, so many experiences with them.
Yeah.
Anything else on Angela before we move on?
I mean, I think we've covered the, big ones. Is just she's the person that just rubs you the wrong way because you keep thinking that you're going to have those genuine moments. She really loves Dwight, and then she falls back to, choosing the senator because she wants that financial security and the power. And
she does not think with her heart.
No, she always makes the calculated decision. In the end,
that's true. When she breaks down, it's like, I love Dwight.
Yeah, I think she really had to, like, lose everything and realize, what was important to her. And that was actually being with Dwight and choosing happiness. Because I just don't think the whole time she thought that she could choose happiness. I think she thought if she had power and she had the right connections and she had what she should, then she would, be fine.
I feel like she needed to feel like she was better than everyone else.
Yeah, she definitely did.
That's kind of her whole thing. And that's why she made the state senator.
Yeah, she just makes her, not a great person and, to me, the best Office character,
What about Kelly? Anything else? Or we pretty much know who she is.
Yeah.
She's just funny. And
yeah, she's great.
And crazy.
She's going to win this, guys.
Okay. on Instagram, we had a few people respond.
Oh, yeah.
Jaramillo Pilates, who follows us, said Dwight for obvious reasons. And I said, Bears beats in Battlestar Galactica. And then she responded, Jim is always on his jock.
Well, remember when Jim tries to prank Stanley?
With the meatballs.
With the meatballs, yeah. And Stanley ends up making it work for him because he just laughs whenever there's meatballs because he was getting free meatballs. But it's just like not as funny when he tries to prank somebody else.
Well, when he pranks Andy, I think it gets insane.
It gets upsetting. I'm like, oh.
There's a couple of pranks that I do like because they're harmless. Like when there's like a bat or something in the office and Jim pretends to be like turning into a vampire. Like that one's just hilarious because it's so stupid. And like Dwight pulls a stake out of behind the water cooler. He has a wooden stake behind the water cooler just in case. Like
when he fakes his own murder when they're in the hotel in Florida.
Oh, that was such a good one.
It was like one of the cold opens.
Yeah, I think my favorite is when he wraps the fake desk, and everything, and And he's like, oh, I'm going to unwrap this in just a second. And then it all just flops over. It's actually funny because we did a surprise birthday thing for one of our supervisors, and we did it as The Office themed. So I got to sneak into his office, and I sticky noted his monitor, his keyboard, and his mouse, as a Jim-style prank.
Cute. I love it when Jim realized that he was being childish and he wasted so much of his time doing pranks and decided to move on with his life and go get a real big boy job in a different city, and then decided not to for Pam.
No, he got sent back because they closed.
Yeah, they had to downsize or whatever.
But I like how he made it like... what was it? He wasn't going to do pranks anymore, and then he tried to prank Andy.
But yeah, I think Andy was too big of a target. That's why.
Yeah.
And he freaked out.
Well, he also wasn't going to do them anymore because he didn't want to fall back into his same routine of the reason
right
why
when
he
they
left.
came back.
Growing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was growing, and then he chose to stop.
Well, and then Pam looped him back in, I think. Okay, I lied. I think my other two favorite pranks were when Jim came dressed as Dwight.
Yes.
And it was
that
was my least favorite one.
That was kind of crazy.
No, I like it. And my other one is when Jim convinces Dwight that he has an Asian actor friend.
That was funny.
The fake Jim.
To this day, I always think whenever I see him, I'm like...
When you see the guy from Fresh Off the Boat?
When I see him, I'm like, there's Jim from The Office. To this day.
I think my favorite is when Dwight gets Jim with the snowball thing.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
I'm that's such a good moment to turn the table.
No, in that moment, I was like, good. I hope he makes Jim's nose bleed.
Well, no, it wasn't even about the
Jim
snowball.
bad.
It was about the fear. Because at the very end, when he's leaving, he says all those snowmen and doesn't actually attack him. It just freaks him out.
Because Jim kept throwing snowballs at him. Grow up. I would be so pissed as an adult if somebody kept throwing a snowball at me when I'm at work.
Yeah.
And I was so happy that Dwight was like, you know what? No. And then he finally was getting him back and scaring him and stuff.
So you were happy for Dwight's moment.
Yes, no, I was very happy in that moment because like I said, I am not playful. I do not find pranks funny on me. So when I watch them, I'm always uncomfortable. Yeah, Jonathan already I don't play. No. I do not play.
I don't do pranks. But
and
some of the ones
and he plays too much.
Yeah, no, I couldn't handle that.
Talk about dick moves though. When Andy comes back from anger management, he says, I want to go by Drew now. And Jim goes, nope. And he says, I'm not going to call you Drew. And I was like, what, dude? Come on,
That's why no
man.
one's arguing for Jim. That's why.
I mean, Jim's just not a great person. He's just okay.
Or when Michael says he can't say that's what she said, he keeps setting him up that's going to be so hard. Are you sure you can go all day long?
God dang it.
He's
but yeah,
really
I think Jim is just a big
fail.
fish in a small pond, and sometimes since he's so hot, he's such hot shit, he just, kind of bullies people that are not as cool as he is, which
he's just
that's
bored.
not cool.
Yeah, when he has that he's above it all attitude, you just can't like him. I mean, it's obnoxious.
But what are you above? You're still working here, so it's you're
and
not
you're not
really
even the
it.
best salesman. That's Dwight.
Yeah, you're not even above it.
Yeah, Dwight's the best.
Shoot, I can't remember what I was going to say. We have more.
Instagrams.
We have more people. Yeah.
Focus.
I don't know how to. TR.
Is it T Butterfrost? It's my friend Tiffany Butterfrost.
Tiffany Butterfrost. Okay, well, TR Butterfrost is what it says here. It says Oscar. He's so dry and makes everyone else funny with his responses. I love him because he's the quote-unquote normal person who gives the normal person response in an exaggerated world. I've got a big box. How about you? Is a quote. I think you don't know what you're saying is another quote. Also, he and Angela's friendship at the end of the series is so pure. He obviously isn't a standalone character in that he would not hold the show on his own or even be that funny on his own. But if we're looking at The Office as a whole, the characters playing off each other, that's what makes it so funny. And then we also have Todd Klein, who we already said he agrees with us that Michael Scott is the best. He says he should have been fired for so many reasons, but it's his hijinks and his ability to be wholly himself that breathes life into The Office. He's the soul of the show. And then he says honorable mentions Michael Scarn and Prison Mike. Prison Mike, who, by the way, that is something bad that Michael Scott does, is Prison Mike makes that guy so uncomfortable that he quits.
Yeah. He makes another guy, the big guy, uncomfortable, making him climb up there.
By trying to make him climb up on a table or something.
I mean, it's one bad thing. Do you remember the diversity day? Michael did a lot of things that were not so great.
Yeah, but they were always in pursuit of trying to make things better, which was just never. Yeah, his instincts were always wrong. Also, Prison Mike, the idea that he's gonna tell the office that it's cool, that everything's cool about, you can go to prison, and then he's going to tell them all about prison. It's so insane.
The Dementors.
The Dementors.
Dementors.
The Dementors.
You know who we didn't talk about? Mose.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was going to say, I love the characters that are
Because he doesn't work at the office.
No, but I love the characters that are in Dwight's circle.
Yes.
Like his cousin Mose. And that one dude that he goes to pick up and, like, he speaks Spanish to him at first, and the guy responds in Spanish, but they're both just, like, these white dudes in Scranton. Like, you know what I'm talking about? That guy who's, like, waiting on the corner to get a job, and Dwight hires
that guy
him.
actually was.
He hires him on.
He's white.
He comes and works in.
They're speaking Spanish because they think that's how you're supposed to do it.
I remember now. I remember that guy now.
Yeah.
That's Nate.
Yeah, it's
Nate.
Nate.
Oh, Nate. Yes.
I love when he applies for the junior sales position or the sales position, and he's like, "Did we get our resumes back? Because I have a chili recipe on the back of mine."
Nate's funny.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Creed really all that much, but Creed is just a terrible person.
My friend loves Creed and Nate for their one-liners because they just kind of take you by surprise.
Creed is insane. We don't even know who he is. He's like a drifter. He's like,
Well, and then in the end, like he gets arrested because he has all these like outstanding warrants.
Yeah, Creed is.
We also didn't talk about Daryl.
Daryl is genuinely funny. I think he doesn't meet any of the things in the office though that we talked about. Like,
no, it's true.
He's not really a failure to me. He also is never awkward. He's always right. Like in all the situations where like Michael Scott's doing something awkward, Daryl, you're like, you feel sorry for Daryl because he's being like put in the situation.
My favorite is when
like,
Michael comes to like,
him.
Michael comes to yell at him and he just looks at him. He's like, "Start over."
That's true.
I feel like I use that line a lot.
Daryl doesn't play with them. He also doesn't play with Kelly. He's like, "Look, you're crazy, and I can't, He's like, figure your crazy out and then come back to me because I can't do with it.
When he tricks Andy and Dwight into driving him to the bookstore.
But yeah, he's not horrible. He's not, awkward. He doesn't fail. He doesn't really have a relationship with all the people on the show. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't meet any of those categories we really talked about.
He's just nice to have around. He teaches Michael how to sing the blues.
He does. He also teaches him, like, slang.
Fake slang.
Oh, my favorite is those fake slang.
Fake black person
Dink
slang.
and Flicka or something like that.
Yeah, when he's like, I really want him to do well in this interview, but I also had to do this.
Yeah, no, you have to. You have to punish Michael Scott for being so, like, absurd.
Yes.
And ignorant. So I guess the idea is, like, what do we think the show really is to figure out who these characters are? So are we going with the character that builds the most relationships? Like we were saying, maybe Dwight is. The one who's, like, a continuous failure.
Wait, you know what I completely forgot to talk about this whole time? Was a plus for Angela is that she drives so much storyline, because she is always pushing Dwight to do these different things. She even drives storyline for Oscar.
I think you're right about that.
For Pam, she's a good foil. She pushes Phyllis, helps her grow a backbone. So I'm just going to throw that in real fast, because I meant to talk about that.
If you have, like, tiers of all the ensemble cast... She's definitely in, like, the B tier. Like, she's pretty influential as far as, like, what's happening in the show. Like, she's not Michael Scott, Jim, or Pam, but she is...
Dwight. I feel like Dwight's up there. I feel like it's Michael, Dwight, Jim, and Pam.
Dwight's on the A tier also, I think you're right.
I feel like if you removed her as a character, it would really affect the show. Yeah, well, I feel like it would for Angela, and then, like Ryan, I mean, it only takes, like, a little bit out.
I agree.
Well, we wouldn't even care for Dwight as much if we didn't have his, like, heartbreak with Angela, I think. So
yeah, I think it really, a lot of her being there,
character.
It helps him grow.
I agree.
Gives him some motivation.
Though, I don't feel like you said, I understand that the Office characters are all absurd, but I don't feel like I dislike them, because I can't watch shows where I don't genuinely like any of the characters. I think
they do a good job of just putting in enough to where you
make them human.
They do. So you really start to, like, care about them. So even when they have these horrible connections, you see, like, Angela getting rejected by Dwight, and you're like, that, I can connect to that.
Even most of the characters that are one-liner characters, like Kevin, who just has these little one-lines that are funny, there are also one-liners that make you feel sorry for him. Like when he's like, I think at the end of one episode, he's like, it just felt good to get a win today. And you're like, oh, man, Kevin. Like, you get a little emotional for him.
Or when he had that turtle that he crushed and tried to tape back together.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Or like how they build,
or when
Meredith
he drops the
is...
chili.
Yeah, or how they build, like, Meredith is just supposed to be this, like, alcoholic, like, background character. And then she's the one who makes Pam realize, you don't have to be so hard on yourself. Because as moms, you're trying your best.
That's interesting.
So I think they're really good about, like, building connections between like the viewer and the characters. Because I think Erica's right. I think a lot of us, The Office is just a really good show to go and watch.
Yeah.
Like that's why it's one of my favorite background shows. It's just a comforting show. It's good to like have a laugh or,
I do have one last negative thing about Michael, which is whenever he gets creative control of something, he is kind of a dick to people sometimes. Like when he's doing the Michael Scott Paper Company, when he's doing the Dunder Mifflin commercial, he really is kind of like Daryl and Kelly and them make a perfect song, and he goes and just trashes it.
He wants it to be the best.
Yeah, he's very like...
But his vision of the best.
Yeah, his vision, which is weird. All right, so let's do it then. Let's pick a character. Let me think who I want to go with.
Y'all ready?
I think I am ready.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Angela.
Okay.
Everyone's stuck with their characters. Y'all are...
No.
I did.
I
I tried not to.
I said Dwight.
Oh.
I said Dwight.
I got Jonathan on my team. I tried not to, but I just feel
no,
like
here's the thing.
I can't.
I almost went with Dwight, but I just love Kelly.
Yeah, your argument was so good, Erin. It made
really
me really
was.
want to pick Dwight, but I do,
Yeah,
I do think...
Had this been any other day where I was using my head, I would have gone
voted
Dwight.
for Dwight.
But
Well,
I'm
I
still
even
going
feel
with my
like-
heart.
I even feel like a lot of your Angela arguments couldn't happen without Dwight.
No, they 100% enforce that Dwight is such a strong character. Because, Dwight he drives even more plot than anyone else. Like, he's just...
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like he's the unsung hero of The Office.
I saw a meme that was like, isn't the whole show actually about Dwight? I was like,
He's the Snape
it
of
kind
The
of
Office.
is. Yeah.
And I voted for Snape also on the Harry Potter episode. So
I
there
did,
you go.
I did too in my brain when I was listening to you.
If no one had picked Dwight, I would have picked Dwight to argue for Dwight. So
Yeah,
I
I
already
definitely
had a
thought
soft
about
spot
it.
for him, and then Erin delivered a great argument for him. So I was like, hey, I got to go with him.
He's just hard not to love.
I can't believe it. We did it again. We figured out who the best character is in whatever we're talking about, despite the podcast being called Your Favorite Character Sucks. Now the only question is, what should we do next? You can help us decide by following us at YFCS Pod on Instagram and Twitter and telling us which show, movie, series, book you think we should do. Until then, hit that subscribe button and catch us on the next episode. Thanks for listening.